after year because there's so much to learn. And I love seeing new faces in the audience every time. And I love seeing familiar faces as I walk through the hallways and in the chairs as well, and people that come back regularly because there's so much to learn in this area. So many things that impact our health coming from different angles. So it's great to take advantage of the show. For me, it's the best money you can spend to learn how to take care of our bodies. I work as a wellness and life coach. My name is Callista, and I am consciously aware of how much things we can do to help our lives and to make things better and to improve ourselves. I don't believe there's one way to make 100% difference in our life, but I do believe there's a lot of little ways and 100 different ways where we can make a 1 or 2 or 5% difference in our life. And by doing all of those little things, it accumulates and makes an impact for us to have the life that we want, healthier, more vibrant, more mental clarity. And as we get that mental clarity and have the more energy, we make better decisions, which has a ripple effect to having a better life as we keep moving forward. This afternoon, I'm thrilled to present Michael Dalton. He is now a Canadian. He's on the West Coast, but he's originally from Ireland, so enjoy the accent, because it's always good to have an Irish accent in the room. He has 23 years experience working with bioenergy. He is background in mechanical engineering, so allow that. He's been working with this particular thing that he's going to do for over a dozen years now, specifically what he's going to talk to you about. He's used it to clear and cure his own asthma and eczema and his own health issues. And so there's treatments that we can do relatively quickly. We don't have to spend hours and hours and hours, but a couple of treatments and you can be have the issues resolved. He works internationally, and he's got a wealth of information to tell you about how you can heal yourself personally. Please join me in welcome Michael and his talk, You Can Heal Yourself.
Thank you, Callista. Thank you, everybody. As Callista said, I'm Michael Dalton. I'm a bioenergy practitioner and trainer. I now live in Vancouver, and I'm here in Toronto to share bioenergy with you. Would it be okay if I share with you how I got into bioenergy? Thank you. So over 23 years ago, I was living in Ireland and I was suffering with asthma and eczema. And I'd done the whole medical route. I had gone to doctors, I'd even gone to specialists. And years later, I still had the asthma and eczema. So my hands were covered in rashes. I had really terrible trouble breathing. And I had, on one specialist I went to see, there was a 2-year waiting list. So I'm waiting to see the specialist, and when I get to see the specialist, after waiting for 2 years in this fancy clinic in Ireland, the specialist looked me over and said, "You have eczema." And I was like, well, I know I have. I was expecting that the specialist was going to get me better. And so to have the specialist say to me after me waiting for 2 years to say, "You have eczema," I was like, I know I have eczema. And the specialist was like, "Well, you'll take this cream." I'm like, well, I've taken that cream and it doesn't work. And so I felt really frustrated. I felt really upset and frustrated that here I was after waiting 2 more years and getting nothing out of the medical profession. So my background is mechanical engineering. I come from a line of engineers, and grandfather, father, brother, and then of course myself. And so I came across this modality called bioenergy, where people were waving their hands around and doing energy healing. And this was almost 24 years ago in Ireland, so it was like witchcraft. It was like people, like voodoo, they were waving their hands. And when I saw them, I thought they were fecking crazy. I thought, how can waving your hands around heal someone? I know, like, you see all the energy healing now and you're familiar with it, but 24 years ago in Ireland, people weren't familiar with it. It looked weird. It looked crazy. And so, you know, I thought, well, look, they were talking about people who had asthma and eczema, and they had treatment and they got better, and I just thought, you know, if I go and it doesn't work, I haven't really lost anything. But what if it actually works? And so they were really busy after being on the TV, but I booked in for an appointment. I had to wait 6 months, and then when I got to go for treatment, it was in a hotel room full of hundreds of people, and you gradually made your way up to the front, and then there were 6 people doing the bioenergy at the front of the room. And So people were having this energy work done on them. It was mostly non-touch, and people were kind of moving with the energy. And of course, I thought, being a little bit skeptical, I thought they were being paid or that something was weird. But so many people were moving with the energy or saying their ailments were better. So I was excited to give it a go. And then what happened was, it was my turn to get up, and this young lady said to me, you know, what would you like treatment for? So I said, I have asthma and I have eczema. And then she didn't ask me anything else. She just said, okay. And I stood up, took my shoes off, stood up. And then she started waving her hands around. And of course, you know, you just go with it, right? Like, you just go with it. And so after a moment, I'm standing there, and after a few moments, she starts massaging my arse. And nobody else is having their arse massage. It's a hands-off treatment. And so, but I'm standing there, and she, like, this is 23 years, I was a little younger than I am now, and she was also very attractive. So it was like, she's there, and she's massaging away, she's there, and she's massaging. And I'm getting really, like, hot and red, and I'm getting really embarrassed. And I look at the people who are waiting for their sessions, and they're all, like, staring, and I'm like, you know, I mean, there's a time and a place. It's just, but in any case, she's not stopping. She's massaging away, and I'm looking at everyone. No one else is getting their arse massaged. And so I could take no more. I'm standing there, and I turned around to give her the look, you know, like, you're massaging my arse. Like, how is that going to heal my asthma? But I turned around to look at her, and what was amazing was, she was back over here and she was turning her hand. She wasn't touching me. I was feeling something I was feeling it like a massage, and she wasn't even touching me. And in that moment right there, I knew this energy stuff was real. And then what happened next was amazing. I went each day for 4 days, and literally the eczema disappeared from my hands in 4 days. My hands had rashes for maybe 10 years, like continuous rashes all the time. And they're just in 4 days, the rashes were completely gone. My breathing, I had trouble breathing, like, you know, as if you had a big brother and they're sitting on your chest. That's what I had 2 big brothers that would sit in my chest. I had 2 brothers, but I had this pressure that was here all the time. And with asthma, it's like you can't catch your breath. You're always out of breath. And it's like you need to yawn all the time. You just can't breathe properly. And by the 3rd day, it was so bizarre. I threw my inhalers in the bin. I had full breathing back in my chest. And I knew I was better. I don't know how to explain it other than, not only did I know I was better, my breathing was better, my skin was better. Not only did I feel better, but I knew I would never have it again. And I can't really explain that other than to say that it wasn't just physical healing. It was physical, it was emotional, it was mental, and on some level, it was even on a spiritual level. It was just like, it was gone out of my blueprint. The asthma and eczema were just taken out of my blueprint, and I just didn't have it anymore. And that was maybe 24 years ago, and I've never had asthma or eczema again since. So that was my introduction to bioenergy, and of course that was someone else healing me. But I had this, like, sometimes I've seen people and they come for treatment and they get amazing results. And they say, thank you so much. And then they walk away and you never see them again. And then there's other people that come for treatment and they get amazing results and they're stuck. They're like, they can't leave. They're like, how? How did this happen? How is this possible? I've gone everywhere, doctors, chiropractors, massage, physio, I've done everything and nothing has worked. And in 4 treatments, the bioenergy has got rid of my pain for 20 years. And they're not able to leave. They're literally, how? And I was one of those people. I was one of those that, how is this possible? How is everybody, why isn't everybody doing this? Why doesn't everybody know about this? So I was that person, and I just made it my mission to learn it and to do it for other people. And so that's what I've been doing for probably 23 years now. I've been doing that. And about 12 years ago, I came to Canada for the love of a good woman. And but when I started in bioenergy, the promise was that we weren't working on the physical body, we were working on the body's energy field. And that's what I want to talk with you today about. Is that okay? And give you a bit of an understanding about how we can heal ourselves. And when I first got into bioenergy, I was taught that there was this physical body that we have, of course, and our physical body is amazing, isn't it? Like, we have amazing physical body. We got about 70 trillion cells in our body. And those cells in your body, radioactive isotope studies show that the cells that are in your body this year will not be there next year. And the ones that are here weren't there last year. That like a river, your body is constantly renewing, replenishing, and healing itself, which is amazing, right? The VIP section is still open, welcome. You know, your body is amazing. It's renewing itself, it's healing itself, and it's doing that all the time. And yet the weird thing is that we can be sick for 10 years or 15 years or 20 years. I've treated people with arthritis for 45 years. You know what's really bizarre about that? You don't have the same body that you had 45 years ago. You don't have the same body that you had 10 years ago. And more importantly, you don't have the same body that you had last year. So radioactive isotope studies show that, and so they trace the cells of the body, and they're saying to us that the cells that are in your body are not the same cells, that they're renewing. So if the cells of your body are renewing, why are we sick year after year after year? And for me, that's what I discovered in bioenergy. That the memory of illness and sickness is held in this blueprint around your body. You have this biofield. You are pure energy. You're an electromagnetic field of energy. And the memory of illness, sickness, stress, trauma gets held in this energetic field. It has emotional blueprint. It has a mental blueprint. It has a spiritual blueprint. And even though the physical body is changing all the time, the biofield is imprinting your physical body year after year. And if you don't change what's happening in your energy field, you'll keep getting the same results in your body. It doesn't matter how much time goes by. It doesn't matter how many years go by. If you have a trauma, you get stuck in that year. Like you had a car accident 10 years ago, and you're like, oh, I've got a bad neck, or I have whiplash because I was in a car crash. And you're like, that happened 10 years ago. And here's the crazy thing. You have 10 new bodies since then. Your body has renewed itself. So when I go to work with people and they have this pain in their body for years and years, and I treat them, and then their pain is gone, and they're like, how is this possible? It's possible because you're just pure energy. And energy keeps repeating itself as memories back into the body. And so as we go through our talk today, I'd like to give you a kind of deeper understanding of that. Is that good? Excellent. So one of the bizarre things, when I first started doing bioenergy, I didn't, to be honest, I didn't even know what I was doing. I was just told, like, find where the energy is blocked and treat it. And in the very beginning, there was a guy I was treating, and he had arthritis in his hand for over 10 years. And he was the father of a friend of mine. And I went to treat him, and when I went through his energy field, his energy was all stuck here in the stomach. So I treated his stomach, and we're about 2 days in, and he says to me, I'm not sure why you're treating my stomach, my problem is with my hand. And I said to him, well, I'm just treating where your energy is blocked, and your energy is all blocked here. And he's like, okay, and he kind of looks up to heaven, you know. But on the third day, I continued treating him here, and I got an electric shock from his stomach. It was so bizarre, like as if you put your fingers into a socket. I got an electric shock from his stomach, and I got like literally thrown back from him. and his hand opened, and he had movement in his hand again. And his hand had been stuck for 10 years. He had operations on his hand. He had up to 4 operations on his hand, and his hand was still stuck. And when he got a shock, of course, from his hand opening, not as much of a shock as I did. But for me, that was my introduction to bioenergy, like that. Here I could do bioenergy on other people. Not only could people do healing on me, I could do it for other people, and without even knowing what I was doing, without having much of a, I was never trained as a doctor or anything like that, without having medical training. Here I could identify blockages in a person's energy field, release these blockages, and their body would start to heal. And some cases the body would heal instantly, if not within a few days or a few weeks. And that's the healing potential that we have inside ourselves, all of us, all the time. And then I realized that not only could we heal others, but one of the things that happened to me was while I was studying bioenergy, I had an accident where I burnt my face over here at 4,500 degrees. So I was using an oxygen acetylene cutting torch that cuts sheets of metal in half, and the hoses had been tangled, and when I was using them, there was a pressure on the hose to hold it like in the proper way. And so I let go of the pressure at one point when I was moving along, and it turned around and the flame went into my face, and it burnt me from here. I had safety goggles on, and it melted the goggles, they don't melt, right? That gives you an idea of the temperature. And I burnt this whole side of my face here, and I was rushed into hospital, and the pain was excruciating. You know what a burn is like, right? A small burn. Well, imagine like an extreme burn. And I'm rushed into hospital, and all I could think of, I had only been doing 6 months of training in bioenergy, but it's like, if you hurt your knee, you'd rub your knee, and if you hurt your elbow, you give it a rub, or you release endorphins. Well, I'd learned bioenergy, which was non-touch, and I'd learned how to clear blockages out of the body and how to heal other people. I'd never learned it for myself. I'd learned it to do it on other people. And when I was on the way to the hospital, I was in so much pain that I just started doing the technique on myself. No one ever showed me how to do it. It was just out of necessity. I took what I do on everyone else and I did it on me. And I started doing this, and as I did it, the pain started leaving my body. And when I stopped doing it, the pain came back again. So I was like, even got into the hospital, I'm doing this, they're looking at me funny, but it just was getting rid of the pain, it was keeping the pain away. Then they checked out my face, and 23 years ago, there's not a lot, like, other than skin grafting, they don't do a lot. They put some gauze on it to protect it, but they didn't have any healing creams or anything like that for burns. And so they wanted me to come back in another week for a checkup and to talk to a doctor about skin grafting and what would be involved in all of that. And I couldn't even hear that. I was terrified. I was like, I'm going to be scared. I'm in my 20s. I'm going to be scared. Now, up to then, I believed that bioenergy could heal anything. I was like, I'm going to heal everyone. I'm going to fix everyone. And then when I burnt my face, all of that went out the window. And I just thought, like, I'm going to be scared and stuff. But you know what? I kept working on myself to get rid of the pain. And what happened was that for 12 days, I kept working on myself. And then I had my next training weekend in bioenergy where I was still learning bioenergy. And I went along to the weekend, I told my instructor what happened, and he asked me to tell everybody. And the reason he asked me to tell everybody the story was when I stood up in front of everybody, no one could tell which side of the face was burned. My body had healed itself in less than 12 days of a 4,500 degree burn. So when I say to you that we can heal ourselves, we really can heal ourselves. Like, I've seen it. That was my introduction to it. I could give you 100 stories of people doing exactly the same thing. I can give you thousands of stories of people healing other people. We are healers. All of us are healers. It's just that we don't necessarily have the training or the tools or the skills. We haven't learned how to do it for ourselves. But all of us, every single one of us, is a natural healer. And when you cut yourself, your body heals it. Isn't that right? If you break your leg, who heals it? Who heals it? Give yourself a little tap on the heart and say, that would be me, right? Tap yourself, that would be me, right? You heal your body. And yet, here's the crazy thing about our society. Healing is coming from outside, right? Everybody has the magic potion, the magic bottle, take this on a monthly basis, keep coming to this. Everybody wants to get your repeat business. The difference with healing is, real healing is not a repeat business. And the reason it's not a repeat business is because you're supposed to feckin' get better, right? When you're sick, you receive healing, and the outcome should be that you get better. You don't keep going back again, Sometimes people come to me and they're like, I'm working on their energy, and they're like, I'm going to a chiropractor or an osteopath or massage or physio or any of these therapies for I'm going for about 6 years. I'm like, it's not working. And they're like, what do you mean it's not working? I'm like, well, you still have your problems. And they're like, well, you think I should stop going? I'm like, it's not working. And they're like, well, the practitioner might be offended if I stop going. They're offended, you should be offended. Right? If you keep going back to something and you keep paying for something, that's the definition of insanity. That's what Einstein said, the smartest guy on the planet, said the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and over again and expecting a different result. Isn't that right? And that's what we do. We're taking these potions and these tablets, and medicine is the same thing. It's a repeat business. You keep going back and back and back, right? So whether we're doing that with medicine or whether we're doing that with other things or health products, it's all about repeat business. What healing though is, healing is about getting you better, right? Healing is about you putting your stuff down and becoming healthy. The end result is that you're healthy. What I like to think of bioenergy especially is a referral business. People get better and they refer other people. They don't keep coming back to us, right? They get better or they don't get better, but they don't keep coming back and back and back. And so when we look at healing, so you have this physical body, and then you have this electromagnetic field. Well, these 70 trillion cells that you have in your body, each one of those has an electric potential of 1.17 volts. So you're a powerful electrical being. Think about that. 70 trillion cells, and each one has an electrical potential of 1.17 volts. You're a powerful electrical being. To give you an example of what your body is capable of, in cases of multiple personalities, where a person has more than one personality, they could be a diabetic in one personality and not be a diabetic in another personality. Isn't that crazy? They need insulin in one and they don't need it in another. They could have scars in their body in one personality and not have it in another personality. Instantly appearing and disappearing in the body. Instant healing. When they go back to the old personality, they get the scar again. They're literally jumping in and out of illness and sickness. They can have allergies, like real allergies, like orange juice or peanut butter. And if they have peanuts, they'll go into anaphylactic shock. When they change personalities, they can eat peanut butter. And that's the power of the mind. That's the only difference between the two personalities is a person's belief. That's how powerful we are. And we've been led to believe that healing is coming from outside of us. That healing is in a bottle, it's in a pill, it's in a potion. You are the healing. You are the healer. So healing is about waking up the energy that's inside of you, the potential, the belief inside of you that you have to fix yourself, to correct yourself, to balance yourself, That healing potential is you. And we've gone so far away from it. It's like, you know, as wonderful as technology is, and technology is wonderful, isn't it? Like, look at these, my dad, he's like, how can you use the internet on that phone? It's like, you know, technology has come so far. But here's the crazy thing, my friends. The very thing that connects us to people that are far